This is the fourth episode of the Illegal Use of Hands to the Face Football Podcast. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing great, Hayden. How are you?
Tremendous. This week, kind of cooled off in the news department, really. We only got one thing.
Yeah, that one thing's pretty major though. Really set the QB market, kind of. At least it set it so a team doesn't have to give up 6 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson.
Well, you gotta. there's no linear value to this. If Jared Goff is worth what he got and Carson Wentz is worth what he got, there's no equation to figure this out. It's really just randomness.
I guess you're right.
But Carson Wentz. I think everybody's happy for the Colts. Which team are you happy for?
I'm happy for Jalen Hurts.
Oh, no team, just Jalen Hurts.
No, just Jalen Hurts.
Just Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna say that I'm happy for the Eagles, and most of the stuff I've been seeing on social media is talking about how the Colts. I think the Colts, like in fans' perspectives, most of the time at least, are looked at like, hey, the Colts won this. Like they got a quarterback and they didn't have a quarterback. Well, if they kept 2 QBs in Philadelphia, that would have just been a complete mess. And now that Sirianni, considering that I'm pretty confident in him, gets to pick one quarterback and stick with him, I'm really excited. And I was afraid that it was going to be Carson Wentz, but it's actually Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. The Colts as a whole, I think, are just blinded by the fact that the Eagles I don't know if wanted to roll with Jalen Hurts is the main thing, because the owner really liked Carson Wentz. So hopefully more information gets out there as press conferences go on. We can learn what the real situation was like now that Wentz is out of there and he can kind of speak freely on the situation.
Yeah, now they won't have to lie. That'll be nice.
Yes.
I don't know if the owner thing's true, though, because if the owner thing was true, wouldn't they have just kept him still? Like, even now, wouldn't they have still kept him?
Yeah, I don't know, because either way they're going to have to eat that salary. It's cap hit.
Yeah,
So,
owners probably get a lot more ticked off with giant salary cap hits than anybody else.
so I don't know how he's feeling about it. Hopefully there's press conferences soon so we can learn more.
Yeah, I'm really just excited for each of these teams because the Colts are going to go with Wentz, and I don't think there's really going to be any Jacoby Brissett needs to be the starter talk happening at least early, like anytime soon, really, unless Carson Wentz is
before week 1.
Yeah, at least I'd say maybe like week 3. It could happen by then, but Carson Wentz would really need to play poorly. And then I think Jalen Hurts. I'm excited to see Jalen Hurts become the full-time starter, unless of course who was the third guy that they put in against Washington at the end of the season? Yeah, Nate Sudfeld. Unless they're having an open quarterback competition that there's no chance that Nate Sudfeld wins, then all right, but yeah, it's nice that these two guys are actually on teams that will allow them to be starting quarterbacks and not have to worry too much about what's happening around them.
I did see news that the Eagles were looking to bring in more people so there would be a competition at quarterback, which I think is really stupid. But if they bring in someone to mentor Jalen Hurts, they need to either bring in Cam or Tyrod. If they want him to succeed, they bring in Tyrod. But
yes, it's a guaranteed. Yeah, and Tyrod's. Jeez, I don't know. Cam or Tyrod? I think Tyrod's probably a similar build to Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts. Jeez, he's like right in between Tyrod and Cam. He's like right in the middle.
yeah,
So I don't know, but yeah, I think you're right. Success wise, Tyrod, because wherever Tyrod goes, the other quarterback plays really well. And then on top of that, if you bring Cam in, you're just hurting your him again, because people are going to be clamoring to see Cam Newton if he plays poorly at all. But I don't know how much people will be clamoring for Tyrod Taylor if he doesn't play that well. So I think that's a better safety blanket if they really do want to go pick up another quarterback.
I completely agree.
Yeah. And I've always been interested by the fact I don't know why, but I just want to see Mariota in an Eagles jersey so badly, and that probably has something to do with the fact that Chip Kelly went there after he left Oregon. But I still want to see it. I want the image fulfilled in my head. It hasn't happened yet, but maybe someday.
All the quarterback movement that's going to be happening, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, when Marcus Mariota is at like his age 38 season and he's still backing up for people in the NFL, and it's like this is his 10th team he's going to. He finally picks the Eagles to ride the last one out.
Yeah, but he's the grizzled vet at that point, and he doesn't have his youthful glow like how you're picturing.
Nope, not at all. Just looks just like, oh, he's here. Okay.
He's here for a paycheck.
Yep. So, where do you want to start with some topics for the day?
Well, today is a day of bests and underratedness. So
Yes. Yes, those are the same thing.
do we want to start with the bests or do we want to start with the underrateds?
I'd start with the underrated.
All right. Why don't you kick things off for us, Hayden?
Okay. So, today we're talking about the most underrated plays in NFL history in our opinions. And my first play is in a playoff game the year that the Steelers went to the Super Bowl to play against the Seahawks. And Ben promised Jerome Bettis a ring, which I know is so important to you. That there's a game in the playoffs where the Steelers are playing the Colts, and Jerome Bettis decides to fumble basically on like the 1 inch line just because, he wants to make Ben a big bad liar. And Ben's like, I'm no liar. So then somehow the Colts end up with the football with the Steelers about to score. And if the Colts take off down the field and score a touchdown, I'm pretty sure they take the lead and would be in control of that game at that point. And there was not much time remaining. So this fumble is huge because if the Steelers go in, it puts them up like 10, closes the game. But since the fumble happens, now the Colts have a chance to take the ball down the field and score. The reason the play is so huge, though, is because what happens after the fumble is that about 4 guys come out of the pile, one of them, and they're all Colts. They're all running the opposite direction. And somehow on this play, Ben Roethlisberger manages to start sprinting backwards, like taking a perfect angle, just straight backwards, because he knows he's not fast enough to catch this defensive back if he just runs at him straight on. And he manages to weave his way around like the convoy of people that this defensive back has when he's trying to return the ball for a touchdown, and he actually makes the tackle on the play. Maybe not even like the Colts defender probably didn't even get out to the 30-yard line, and the Colts end up not getting enough points after that to win the game. And this play is huge because if that fumble is returned for a touchdown, then the Steelers probably lose that game and don't win the Super Bowl in Bettis' final year.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's basically the one that made me want to talk about this topic. And now my other ones are kind of more arguable because I think like that one is definitely underrated and like yeah, that could have changed everything, but go ahead.
Well, I started my list off with a non-scoring play. No points are made here. It's not even really that big of a play. Let me take you to week 12 of 2006. The Chicago Bears are taking on the New England Patriots, all right? We all know Tom Brady. That guy can't move. He can't do anything. He's a statue in the pocket.
Are you kidding me?
Tom Brady.
Okay, I know where this is going.
Picked up 15 yards on a rush. But not only did he pick up 15 yards, He juked Brian Urlacher out of his shoes. Hall of Fame linebacker Brian Urlacher out of his shoes to pick up those 15 yards. And that is the first play that came to mind when I think of plays that are underrated, because everyone thinks Tom Brady's is immobile, which he is.
Wasn't it
But
third down too?
yeah, it was. It was.
Yep.
Just picks it up without a problem.
And then you get that awesome that's like one of the first or the earliest like remembrances of like Brady like getting up and almost doing like pregame. He does like the like take back the arm and like punch the air, the let's go thing. And then he I think am I remembering it correctly in that he like also does it after he does that, but it's like he signals first down instead.
It wasn't as prominent. There's one play against the Browns where I know one game he just sticks it right out wide. He doesn't do that. He just bends his wrist a little bit. Just first down.
Yeah.
So
it was still casual back then because he wasn't like entirely the GOAT then. It was just like, you're pretty good.
He only won a couple. He only won a couple Super Bowls at that point.
Three.
Yeah, only a couple.
How many is a couple?
Well, you could say two.
My dad killed me about this since I was a little kid. Whenever I said a couple and was not referring to two, he was like, okay. No, a couple is always two.
He only had a handful of Lombardi.
I mean that. Yeah, no, that's probably better. I'm just saying it because of what my dad told me. So I mean, parents are always right. So.
Oh, of course.
Like, would you ever be like, Mom, you're wrong? Would you?
Never. I'd be afraid I would get hit. Age 19, still scared my mom's gonna hit me if I tell her she's wrong.
Nice. All right. My next play is a series of plays that I'm just gonna bunch all together because I can't believe that this is like all these plays are from one game, and it's just insane that like I just feel like this is almost like so obviously like the best game in like NFL history, and I don't see how you can't say that. Like so it's Super Bowl 43, and I've talked about this before, but we have these three plays specifically that I'm talking about that are a little underrated. Are James Harrison's interception return, 100 yards basically right before the half. It may have went down. I think it went down as 99. Literally, the clock expires and he scores, just barely squeaking over the goal line to get that pick six. That's like one of the craziest plays in NFL history. And then on top of that, in this game, you have the Cardinals, who are now down big going into halftime. They managed to climb their way back into the game. I mean, this game even had a safety in it because, like, every good game needs a safety in it. And then the other two plays come at the end of the game when the Cardinals are finally getting everything going, and they've, like, clawed their way back into this game. And then with 2.5 minutes to go, Kurt Warner drops back, throws a quick slant to Larry Fitzgerald, and he goes like 70 to 80 yards, somewhere between 60 and 80 yards for a slant that scores a touchdown. He just catches it and runs all the way to the end zone. Now, that is like insane in terms of how often you throw a slant and it actually, like, if you're on your own side of the field, how often that slant scores. Those plays where it's like quick throw, catch, and you go all the way for a touchdown, those are insane how rare they usually are. And then on top of that, you have it with 2.5 minutes to go left in the game where it couldn't be any more clutch, and it's in the Super Bowl. So that play, it just shows so much in why Larry Fitzgerald was so great in that postseason too. It was just like he was unstoppable at that point in his career, and really once he gets to the playoffs is always an exciting piece to watch. But then to cap it all off, you have the last play that I'm going to talk about in the game, where you have Roethlisberger drop back. Now it's like we're inside of 2 minutes and it's a lot less time left. And it's like the Steelers have allowed the Cardinals to claw back into this game. And now the Steelers need to score again to win. And you've got Ben doing Ben things, taking a snap inside the 10-yard line. Drops back and he's like hanging around in the pocket for way too long. Like most quarterbacks are not just gonna be like, look left, look right, look left, look right. Okay, reset my feet. Like it's just he's standing back there seeming like forever, and then he fires this ball into the corner of the end zone with 3 Cardinal defenders covering Santonio Holmes. Literally places the ball in the only spot there could even be a chance for the receiver to catch it. Then we have to talk about the fact that the ball is about a solid foot or foot and a half above Santonio Holmes' head. So not only does he have to reach his arms up and make this catch, which just normally would be a fairly difficult catch because catching a ball straight above your head is difficult, but he's also perfectly tip-tapping his toes in the corner of the end zone. And after that, he catches it, he brings it into his body, perfectly toe taps, and hits the ground and maintains possession of the ball to score the game-winning touchdown. The game is absolutely insane, and all the amazing plays that happen in it, even though they're all individually gonna be like high, they're gonna be high on people's lists. I just don't think that people can even still like respect just the magnitude of that game as a whole, because there was back and forth in it, there were huge plays in it, and it was just it was an absolutely insane game to watch. And I don't think there's really even like any other matchup that comes close to it, and the fact that it was in the Super Bowl makes it even more insane.
Yeah, that is one of the best games of all time, and those plays are phenomenal. Yeah, I that took up like 2 plays that I had on my list too. So
The Holmes one and the Harrison one.
yeah,
I figured, because no one wants to talk about the Fitzgerald one because they didn't win the game, but that one's just as crazy.
mm-hmm.
It's like a slant that goes for 6 from 80 yards out, and there's 2.5 minutes to play. You got the Steelers defense that's very good in that era. And you got like Palamalu playing on the back end. And it's like, well, okay, the one thing the Steelers are not worried about here is giving up like a quick like 1-play touchdown on this drive. And that's exactly what they do. And it's like, you've got to be kidding me. Fitzgerald just caught a pass 5 yards down the field and outran Palamalu to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane. All right, what's another play from you?
All right, Week 3, 2009. What now? Some people
I know.
could say
I already know what this is.
That this play is not. Some could say that this play isn't overrated because.
Well, I mean, just look at like the 3 characters involved. I mean, I know exactly what play you're referring to, and you haven't even talked about it yet. But I mean, just look at the 3 players that are involved in it. You got 3 of like the most fun players in NFL history.
Well, it's just funny because game winners now seem like a dime a dozen, and this just gets underrated as one of the best game-winning throws and catches of all time. You know?
Oh, I know.
That's Greg Lewis. Welcome to Minnesota.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Never mind. I am completely wrong on what I thought you were referring to.
That's why I didn't correct you, because I knew you weren't thinking what I was thinking.
Is it the same week?
It might be.
Is it the same week? Because that one was also early in the season, and it was also 2009. And the one I'm referring to, just in case anyone doesn't know, is the Stokely one. But
I think yeah, that was also 2009, I believe.
yeah, but I have no idea what week it was. Jeez, that I knew that one was early in the, wow, that's really crazy how closely those plays fall together. Yeah, but your play's ridiculous too. Sorry, keep talking.
Yeah, one of, if not the best throw of Brett Favre's career. He puts that ball in such a tight window, and Greg Lewis just he hugs the sideline or hugs the back of the end zone. Sorry, hugs the back of the end zone and just barely drags his toes in. It is so beautiful, and the call on it is great.
Yes. Yes.
It is so good, and I hate that it's because when I was watching some YouTube compilations to find plays and stuff, there's so many game winners on it, and then this one popped into my head. It wasn't on like 3 compilations that I watched. I couldn't believe it. It just is so underrated as a game winner, and I think that's mainly because the Vikings didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't. Well, that's the year they. No, wait, was that the year before that? No, that was yeah. That's the year they lose in the NFC Championship
yeah,
game to the
so
Saints.
it just gets overshadowed because of that, and it was also really early in the season. But that play is just so good.
Yes, that it really is. Um, man, I had a thought, but I don't know what I was gonna say now. That play is absolutely insane. I mean, what it's like 30 yards out from the end zone, like back
Third
of
down.
yeah, like
Yeah.
no,
And
there's
Favre,
and the time
yeah, 12
expires.
seconds left. Yeah. And Favre also just gets lit up from behind as soon as he releases the ball.
Oh yeah.
That it just leaves his fingertips and someone comes up behind and crushes him.
That's like the most late in his career Brett Favre memory you could have of him just getting absolutely laid out. Um
Yeah.
no, oh, what I was going to say is what's crazy is like you have these memories, and sometimes NFL films can almost make you like remember things differently. I don't know, we're probably both thinking of the same thing because of the way that NFL films did this, but um especially because the Minnesota's radio call is like one of the best in the league usually. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm actually remembering, and I have no idea what like the TV broadcast call even sounded like.
Yeah. I don't
That's the
either.
one you're thinking of too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's I think it'd be a lot cooler if we could see more if we could have a way almost like the NHL, and I don't know about the NBA, but the NHL has like all their teams have their specific stations that you watch their games on, and then you get the announcer for your team. Man, if the NFL gave us another option to like pay extra to do that, I would love to watch all games from like the perspective of the radio call for a specific team, even if I had no rooting interest in the game, just because some of the people that call radio are just as talented as, and even more fun because they're more passionate about their team
Yes.
than the guys that call games in the booth.
Yeah. It's that the wow, I can't even focus right now because I'm just so flustered about this play. Minnesota's call guys are great.
I mean,
And
it's just like that the other one that I remember for Minnesota is the game against Arizona in like 2002 week 17. The
yeah.
Vikings win in their end, and it's like McCow drops back. You're all right or whatever he says. It's like touchdown. No. That's one of the greatest calls too. And yeah, the next play I have also is just like that. Because it's a Joe Buck call, and the Joe Buck call is like it's like whatever. But then you listen to Merrill Reese, the Eagles radio announcer, and it's like, oh, that's awesome. Now, this play is I think this one is known as the Miracle in the Meadowlands #2, but I'm actually not quite sure because you have the Herman Edwards fumble return for a touchdown, and then you have the Brian Westbrook late game punt return touchdown for the Eagles in like the mid 2000s, which also helps them win the game. And then there's this one, which is I'm referring to the Deshaun Jackson punt return that ends the game, I think in 2010 for the Eagles, and they win the game. But what this play definitely is not underrated in the regard, just like I talked about in the Super Bowl plays. It's underrated in a different way because it's like it probably will still be recognized like as a very important play, game winner punt return touchdown with no time remaining. That's absolutely insane. But the reason this play is so huge to me is because that season, which I'm fairly sure was the 2010 Eagles, it's like the early years where I'm finally getting interested into football, and I'm just like, whoa, like I'm just figuring out like what teams just have like crazy talent and are extremely fun to watch. And you've got Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson, and LaShawn McCoy on the same team. And it's like, wow, these guys are really exciting to watch every week of the season. And then on top of that, in this game, it's like, oh, this game has gone really crappy for the Eagles. They're getting things like, at one point in the game, Deshaun Jackson gets tackled by his hand warmer, and since he gets tackled by his hand warmer does not count. This sounds like something out of a like children's like not even yes, like children playing like schoolyard stuff like, "Oh, you tagged my t-shirt, so that didn't count as you tagging me. You didn't tag me." And it's just like, "Okay, what's going on here?" Cuz they tackle him by his hand warmer. He falls to the ground. His knee hits the ground. Okay, whatever, he's down, right? No, since no one touched him, even though he was pulled down by his hand warmer, he loses possession of the ball, and then the Giants recover it. And it's just like the Eagles are getting absolutely screwed this game. And they end up going down with like eight minutes left. The Giants score a touchdown to make the score 31-10. And it's like, okay, how like what this game is over. This game is over. Like what's going to happen here that we're going to be able to change. And that's like, okay, 30 seconds in to the next drive. Somehow Brent Selleck gets open on like a post, catches a ball, breaks one tackle, and Brent Selleck, like some guy that's just like not known for any speed at all. I don't think anybody's confused that Brent Selleck is not a fast man. He rumbles all the way down the field for like a 75-yard touchdown. Okay, and now it's like, okay, they're still down 14 with like 7.5 to go. Then they kick an onside kick. They recover that. And they recover it. Then they slowly move down the field. Vic's arms and legs moving them. And then Vic runs like a read option type player, designed quarterback run in for a touchdown close to the end zone. They score. They kick it back to the Eagles. They don't go onside again. Then they punt. The Giants go 3 and out. They punt. They get the ball. They drive down the field again at like the 15-yard line. Vic hits Macklin, Jeremy Macklin, also a pretty good player at the time. Just not quite as on the excitement level of Jackson, McCoy, and Vic. Very good player, though. Catches a curl, spins away from a defender, and runs in for a touchdown. And it's like, holy crap, this game's 31-31, and there's still 2 minutes left. So in the span of 5 minutes, these guys have managed to tie the game from, like, just nowhere. And it's like, okay, what's happening? It's like, all right, well, the Giants could still go down the field, and all they need is 3 here to take the lead. Well, the Giants decide, let's go 3 and out again. We'll give them 12 seconds. We have 12 seconds on the clock to punt this ball, and we'll just play for overtime because the chances of them scoring in 12 seconds are not that good. So they punt the ball, and they punt the ball inbounds. And now Deshaun Jackson calls for a fair catch on the play. And I think the idea here is actually something we talked about in the last podcast a little bit, with the fact that maybe they have David Akers, and they were maybe going to try a record long field goal attempt in a free kick if he fair catches that ball. But since he drops it, they can't do that now. And then when he picks it up, somehow a whole lane just opens up hugely, and he runs the ball all the way back for a touchdown. And it's just absolutely insane. And it's like Merrill Reese, the Eagles announcer, goes, "This place is in a state of shock." Like, all the Giants fans just went silent. Like, we had a 21-point lead with 7.5 to go, and we lost in regulation. How insane is that? Just the way that play, everything that had to be set up for that play to work is just absolutely insane. Along with the punter getting absolutely chewed out by Tom Coughlin after he scores the touchdown because Tom Coughlin told him to punt the ball out of bounds. Also, another reason to do that would have been to prevent the free kick opportunity, because if you punt out of bounds, you can't fair catch the ball. It's just crazy how many things had to fall perfectly in line for that play to happen. And that's why even though people are going to put it high on their lists of just how impressive or important that play was, I don't think everybody understands how many circumstances had to perfectly fit together for that play to even happen.
Yeah, that it gives me chills every time I see that play. Just how impactful that is for the Eagles as a whole, because that was like the third year in a row that Andy Reid made the playoffs with the Eagles, isn't it?
I mean, he made the playoffs a lot.
Yeah, it was either like the third time in a row at that point, or it was the first time after like a dry period of him making the playoffs.
Well, yeah, and that's what made the move on from McNabb, and that's also the season that at the beginning of the year it's like, okay, Kevin Cobb's our starting quarterback, and then week 1 Kevin Cobb gets injured, and it's like, oh crap, we got to put the guy in who kind of did some bad stuff. So hopefully nobody gets too upset by this, but yeah, I mean, he did bad stuff, but I mean, he's a lot better now than he was then. I mean, he's doing a lot better stuff in his day-to-day life, but also I think that was probably hard for people to accept him back into the NFL.
Yeah.
At that point in time, it's just another crazy aspect to the story. That's like, wow.
Yeah. The whole season led up to that game, and it ended like that.
Yeah, just absolutely ridiculous. All right, what's your next play?
I'm trying to. I got 2 that I want to pick between right now. I think I'm gonna go with this one. I'll save the next one for my next round. But December 21st, 2003, Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay, I was gonna say I have no idea where you're going with this one, but I think I may have maybe I can't be confident anymore because I was wrong before.
Yeah, this play is so overshadowed because the Saints did not win, and it sucks because it is such a fun, cool play. The only time that multiple laterals have ever worked since the forward pass was invented, it feels like.
At least I think that many. Yeah, yes. That many has actually worked. Because it's like if you go more than 2 laterals, your chances are bad.
The River City relay is so good. That just ending it with Jerome Pathan diving into the end zone, they're like, oh yeah, this is going to OT. We just nailed it. And this is another point of the radio callers being way better than the
Yeah.
actual broadcast guy, because the no that is let out after missing that field goal is blood curdling. It just showed that another reason or another point to make that they care so much about the team that they're commentating for.
Yes.
But oh, that how many laterals were even in that? Five, six?
At least five. At least five are in that play. And then I've noticed a trend recently too with any games the Jacksonville Jaguars play in, whether that is the Jaguars quarterback or the opposing quarterback, you have to love it because like David Garrard is like the best example of a quarterback getting downfield to block in NFL history. But even then, on that play too, Aaron Brooks is doing everything he possibly can to make sure that they get into the end zone on that play. And it is, yes, it is absolutely a hugely exciting play. And I mean, there's points where it's like there's like five guys around. I think the running back has the ball at this point, and he just shoots it out of the pile, and then it's like, oh shoot, they got a chance, this one could go. And it's like, yes, very exciting. And yeah, it sucks because it's just like, well, that play didn't matter because now we still lost.
Yeah, it's so disappointing. Because that would be considered one of the greatest plays of all time if they won the game. Or at least tied it. If they made the field goal afterwards and didn't immediately lose the game after that.
Yes. Very.
It just hurts.
I completely agree.
And it sucks because you can't find a video of it on YouTube that doesn't have the field goal being missed after it. And it would just be so much better for my sanity if I could just watch the play and then not see the field goal miss after it and just be like, the Saints won that game.
Yeah, I'm sure they won.
Had to have won after that. No way you can lose.
Ah, man. Okay. So how many you got left?
3.
3 more? Oh, okay. I've got 3 more too. Okay, so I can keep. I'll go. My next play, I don't need to give a ton of background on this play. This play is just actually underrated from the standpoint of, like, it's a very good play, and people just don't talk about it enough. So, we got the Beast Quake where Marshawn Lynch does it. And he breaks, like, a ton of tackles, and he increases a lead over the Saints in the fourth quarter of that playoff game, where it's like, it's huge just because of the fact that they weren't that good of a team, and he runs that and breaks all those tackles, and it's just insane. But that play is not overshadowed. That play is like highly regarded as one of the best plays in NFL history, and it's like that. Yeah, not talking about that play. But what if I told you the same thing happened in a playoff game before? Okay. So first, that also. Then, on top of that, I told you that it wasn't to extend a lead, but it was for a game-winning touchdown. Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm following.
Okay. Now, I'm going to say, you could argue that this play doesn't have 6 broken tackles like Lynch's does, but it has, like, 4 broken tackles and like 7 evaded tackles. Okay? So if you want to argue that, it's like he dodged more defenders.
Yeah.
Okay? And then
to
top it all off, it's a run, but it's a run by a quarterback. The Steve Young run against the Vikings in the playoffs is absolutely insane. That is one of the greatest runs in NFL history, and it is done by a quarterback. And not only is it done by a quarterback, but it's done by like an older school scrambling quarterback. So it's not that he does it with he doesn't do it with any elegance at all. Like, there is not one part of that that's like, wow, this guy is smooth with the ball in his hands. It's an absolute mess. It's like, oh, he almost gets sacked. He like stumbles out of that. He jukes out one guy who's like diving on the ground past him, and it's like it's not even a fast juke. And then he breaks a few tackles, and it's gets away again, and he's rumbling to the end zone, and I mean, finally he dives in for the touchdown, and it's just like all that, and it's like this run is absolutely insane, and I have no idea why nobody talks about it more. It's one of the craziest plays in NFL history, and it's one of the most like impressive efforts in NFL history. But to get back to the point about the quarterbacks that we had before, it's not like Steve Young is like our Lamar Jacksons nowadays, or even like years ago with Michael Vick we were talking about before with that type of speed. It's not like he has that type of speed. It's just an insane individual effort from a guy who looks, I mean, the funniest part is with the pads on the players at this time, it's just like everybody on the field that comes close to him is so much bigger than him, and still somehow he manages to evade all these guys and finally like just run, break all these tackles, elude all these guys, and just barely squeak into the end zone because he's completely out of gas and he needs to dive in, stumbling and diving in for a touchdown. It's an absolutely amazing play.
Yeah, that I completely agree. I know that we talked about it a couple months ago. We were talking about it, and then I went and watched it on YouTube. I've seen it before, but I refreshed my memory seeing it. It is one of the best runs, if not the best run in NFL history.
Like I said, context still.
Yes.
It's like the context is still, even though I think I did say before that like context isn't as huge for that one, just because it really is that great of a play. But even then, still, like, that context for that play is still more impressive than the context for the Beastquake.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yes. Well, I want to shift where context matters to a play where context doesn't matter.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people have been praising the Hail Mary as one of the best plays in NFL history, but the Cardinals didn't make the playoffs. There's another play where a team completed a Hail Mary and didn't make the playoffs, and it didn't matter, but it is the best Hail Mary in NFL history.
I'm interested.
That's Week 10 in 2010, I believe. Again, in Jacksonville, Florida. You talked about him in my last play. David Garrard's completion to Mike Thomas after it gets deflected by Glover Quinn.
How can you not be a David Garrard fan?
It is the best Hail Mary ever. There's nothing coming close to that. Because it's defended great. Glover Quinn did exactly what you're supposed to do. Slap it down. He just slapped it right into Mike Thomas's chest. And the call on that by Gus Johnson. We need to get him back in the NFL. Because
come on. Why is he not calling NFL games?
The blow of Kyler Murray completing that pass to DeAndre Hopkins would have been cushioned a little bit if Gus Johnson was on the call.
Yes. There's nothing I miss more than hearing hi, or whatever, however he introduced it. Hi, Gus Johnson along with, and it was just like that initial moment alone was enough to be like, yes. He's in the booth. The worst part is he was always calling like crappy games, and it was still the most exciting calls in the league, and no one was even close to him. No one is even close to his level of creating as much excitement as he did in a game where you could be watching a game between like a 2-12 team and a 3-11 team week 15 of the season, and he's calling it, and he'd probably have you on your feet for like a 5-yard touchdown pass.
when you and I at the start of the pandemic, when the NFL put all the games from 2009 to present up on the NFL app or whatever, NFL Network. How many games in the 2010 season did him and Tasker call for the Bills? Because it seemed like it was every other game. He was just
Yeah.
calling
Yeah, they at
the
that time they may have just been like, okay, Tasker, you used to play for the Bills, we'll throw you with the Bills, and it may not have even been that we really were getting Gus Johnson for having Gus Johnson just because it was Tasker.
we got spoiled so much.
Yeah, we
that,
really did.
that crappy team had the best commentator of all time doing their games.
Oh, it's great. I think my favorite part about that touchdown pass, and almost we're loving the commentator more than the play itself, but I think my favorite part about the call is just that like quarter to full second of him going knock down. Oh, he got it. Like what? Like that's just like initial down, like oh, this isn't a big deal, to like freaking out is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And even like the build up to it is absolutely tremendous too. The way he calls the play, he's like, Gerard to the end zone, Mike Sims, Walker, knocked down. Oh, he got it! Like the build up is even there too. It's like, wow, it's just unlike anyone else. No one else can do it the way he does.
Yeah. It's so good. And the image of David Garrard standing towards the fans with his hands up in the air with just the biggest smile on his face, that just warms my heart every time I see it.
Yes, I know completely. Could you imagine how much like less people would care about like that play and the Stokely play if he didn't call them? Like if anyone
Yeah.
else was in the booth.
Oh, no one will care about them because they're irrelevant plays for irrelevant teams in games that didn't matter. Well, that Stokely one was week 1, so you could say it mattered.
Oh, it was week
But
1.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
I think it was. Maybe it was week 2.
Um my next play just absolutely stupid. It's basically the same. This kind of similar to like, ones before, but it's like where it feels like this is the point in the NFL where it really there's Walter Payton before this, and there's like Gale Sayers, but it's like the modern like player that is just absolutely insanely elusive and fast. It feels like is invented in this play, and at least like comes to be like more and more available, I guess I would say, because it seems like after this play we get even more and more athletes that are like this guy, that it's just absolutely insane. And I'm talking about like the Tyreek Hills nowadays, like just guys with speed burners that will break anybody's ankles and what have it. It seems like they're a lot more apparent in the NFL now than they were in like the 70s or the 80s or what have you. But Deion Sanders, first game of his career, send him back. Deion, Deion, good, go field this punt and do what you can. Okay, Deion, just like Deshaun Jackson, decides that since he's supposed to catch the punt, he's not going to catch the punt. He's going to drop it, and he's going to let it hit the ground. Then he's going to pick it up, start running backwards to make it so that like he may be losing his team's yards here. So it's like oh boy, Deion, this is not going to be a good start for you. And then it's like, wait a minute though, he's faster than everybody. By giving up ground, he's actually created a massive amount of separation, and now he's up the other sideline and he's breaking away from people, and my god, Deion Sanders is gonna score. It's just that play is so huge to me, just because like I said, it almost modernizes how many just insane speed and elusive athletes we have in the NFL nowadays. And that's just a really fun play for me.
Yeah, that uh, it's great. Deion's great. So I'm gonna say both of my final two plays here because they go hand in hand. Uh, though they are 20 25 years apart from each other, they go hand in hand.
All right.
First, the first one I'm going to talk about is the lesser of the two. That's Brett Favre's first NFL completion. Though it
Why
is for
is
a
this
loss of
on the
yards,
list?
though it is for a loss of
Could
yards.
you even find footage of this?
Yeah,
Oh,
you can
okay.
find footage of it.
I was just making sure. Like, see, if you ever actually, I know what happens on the play, but I just had to make sure that you've ever even seen the play.
September 13th, 1992. They're playing against the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have the creamsicle jerseys on. Brett Favre slings that. I don't know the name of the defensive player because they don't say his name at all. Slaps it. And the instincts on Brett Favre, it isn't like Blake Bortles in that London game a couple years ago, or, any quarterback that doesn't care and they're just going to throw it. Brett Favre knows that he cannot throw it again and immediately tucks it under and then gets hit so hard. And as soon as he gets taken down, like just low enough, you see three more guys come in that looked like they were ready to take his head off and dove at just air and were ready to decapitate him.
And Brett Favre's career has ended on the first pass of his career to himself.
It is phenomenal, and they lost that game 31-3.
Don't think they were a good team. I wasn't expecting you to say that they won.
No, but that play doesn't get stated enough. I know I stated a lot to you because I just think it's the funniest trivia fact in the world that his first completion was to himself. But it's great that the greatest gunslinger of all time threw it to himself.
Yes.
But the
Now what's the other
more
play?
modern version of that play is Marcus Mariota in the 2017 season 2018 playoffs when he threw it to himself and got a touchdown off of it. No one talks about that play.
That is a great play.
No one does.
Yes, that's a very great play. And it's Mariota, so I really like it. The thing that makes me not mention that play on this list is only because that game was one of it's very sad to say this, and I hate saying this, because even the Rams and Saints game a few years ago that ended with the Nickel Roby-Coleman pass interference no call, like, I don't think about that game as being like a complete mess in terms of an officiating standpoint, but that Titans-Chiefs game that year in the playoffs, the rest of the game besides that play, like, even that play you could argue, because I like there's like he's kind of close to the line of scrimmage on that, isn't he?
He is, but
Yeah.
for the sake of that play, I'm going to say he was behind the line of
Oh,
scrimmage.
I think that play was actually okay, but the rest of that game was officiated absolutely atrociously, a complete mess, and it's just, yeah, that's kind of how I remember that game, and that's why that play doesn't appear for me. But talk about why you love it so much.
Well, it starts the comeback that wins them that game.
Yeah,
And Mariota also dives out from like the 4 to hit the pylon, and there's no one like even around him to tackle him. He just does it because he's afraid he's gonna get lit up because he's got 5 defenders in front of him.
I think his
just are done with the play.
I think his momentum was carrying him out of bounds, so he was actually diving because he thought if he didn't dive, he would just step out of bounds. I think that's actually what it is. Because like I think he's throwing it and he's like running towards the sideline, and then he's like, "Oh shoot, I'm still in. I have the ball again." And then that's when he's like, "Okay, got to try to dive and keep my feet in bounds."
Yeah. I know someone on the Chiefs also shoves him too. It might have been Tom Ali or someone just gives him a little shove right as soon as he gets the throw off.
Yeah.
So that might have been it as well. But I know that Dan Sorensen just has his back turned to him, and as soon as he hits the pylon, he turns around. He's like, "What just happened?"
Dan the man.
Uh,
Who's the one who actually hits the ball?
uh,
Don't know. It's fine
I
if you
have,
don't know.
he's number 24, I'm pretty sure. Marcus Peters.
Oh. Oh. Pretty pretty high name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love those two plays. Just separately, they're both great. Obviously, the Mariota one's better because he got a touchdown off of it, won the game.
Yeah.
But Favre's is great too because you can just, if I say, "Here, watch this play," and say, "Okay, what do you think this guy did with his career?" You'd probably just say, "Oh, he, yeah, he was done. Oh, that's his first pass attempt, and he lost that game by a landslide. Yikes! Yeah, he's done."
Yeah. I mean, just one play determines everything. So,
Well, if you look at that play though, it is the most brutal play for your eyes to look at, but it's so underrated. Just the start of a Hall of Fame career is that.
yeah. So, you know how as Bills fans we are supposed to like be very hurt by the Music City Miracle, but it happened before we were alive, so it doesn't really hurt me that much
Hmm.
because it already happened. Well, I think even if I was alive like during the 90s and stuff, I have a play that would hurt me more than that. Um it's also a Bills playoff blunder, but I don't think it's something that people take note of as much. Um, this is a play in the second half of the Super Bowl against the Giants, where it is 3rd and 13.
I know what you're gonna say.
Yes, and Mark Ingram catches a pass maybe 2 yards down the field. I don't know if there's another play in NFL history where there are so many tackles missed that look like they have to be guaranteed tackles. Because he has like at least 5 guys touch him that seemingly should be able to easily take him down and make this 3rd and 13, 4th and 10, 4th and 8, 4th and 5, and then 4th and 3, and like all these groups of guys miss him, and he manages to pick up 13 and a half yards on the play on 3rd and 13. And if he doesn't pick that up, uh, if I have this correctly, which I think I do, the Giants go on to score on that drive. And if the Giants don't score on that drive, they don't have a 1 point lead at the end of the game, which causes the missed field goal at the end of the game for the Bills to not matter, and the Bills are able to run out the clock and actually win a Super Bowl. That
It,
to me is just absolutely that play. If I was watching those two plays live, um, and then after the game, especially, I think that play would hurt me more than the Music City Miracle, because
well,
the Music City Miracle is it like besides there's nothing crazy that happens on that play. There's no crazy feats of athleticism. It's just that somebody laterals the ball across the entire field when you don't expect it at all, and it's basically like getting outsmarted, and it's like, oh well, I mean, props to them for trying something so elaborate and crazy that hadn't been done before. But then this this play with Mark Ingram is just gut wrenching in the fact that it literally could be the one play that changed how that Super Bowl ended.
yeah, the Music City Miracle. As a fan, you can kind of take solace in the fact of like, well, you could say it was a forward pass. The refs screwed us on that, but that Mark Ingram Mark Ingram the first, by the way. Don't want to confuse the viewers.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people worried that like Mark Ingram, like what would it be? Like 20 years before he won the Heisman at Alabama was somehow playing in the Super Bowl.
Mark Ingram the first. Uh, just no one could tackle him. It's
It
just those moments where you're screaming at the TV, like, I could tackle him, I could tackle him.
Yeah, absolutely rough, very rough, and I don't know. There's other Super Bowl moments that you could point to like that. Like there's a there's a third and long in that Falcons Patriots Super Bowl. Like right before the end of the game, the Patriots need to score one more time to tie it up, and I think the Falcons convert it, but then they get like a holding flag,
Yeah.
and that extends the
Hmm.
game, and then that's one of the reasons that the Patriots go on to win. So it's just like single plays in Super Bowls can make so much of a difference. And then I mean even mention the fact that could you imagine if Tom Brady completed um his Hail Mary attempts in either the second Super Bowl against the Giants or the Super Bowl against the Eagles? If he completed either of his Hail Mary attempts, that would be absolutely insane. And then on top of that, if he completes his Hail Mary attempt in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, he actually, if that pass is completed, he would have actually gotten the single game passing yards record in the Super Bowl, which is just absolutely insane as well.
uh, yeah, that's sheesh.
All right, you want to move on to the next topic? I don't think this one's gonna take as long. I think this is pretty
No,
simple stuff.
we don't have to build up the moments for any of these or give backstory on them.
Nope,
But
not at all.
best celebrations pre and post entering the end zone. I
Yes.
I had a lot of fun watching videos on these and doing some research.
These were all basically off the top of my head. So if
Oh,
I
okay.
yeah, so if my list isn't as in depth, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
You
Uh,
can go first though. You have a lot more than
well,
I do.
for pre entering the end zone, this one came right off the top of my head. This is the first one I thought of. It was Golden Tate mossing Jackrabbit. Seahawks against Rams. When the Rams were still in St. Louis. Moss is Jackrabbit, and as he's running, I think another 40 or 30 yards to the end zone, he sees Rodney McLeod, and he's like, come on, come and get it. Come and get it. The whole
Golden
time.
Yeah. Golden Tate loves waving to people while he's running into the end zone. Golden Tate's one of the best pre-end zone taunters in the league.
Before we started recording, I even said when I was watching these, I hated it when the announcers were like, "Oh, why has he got to do that? There's no place for that." And John Gruden says that about Golden Tate when he's doing it. He's like, that's a great play, but I don't understand why Golden Tate's doing that. It's like, John, it's awesome.
Yeah, no, I don't care if you make a play. You're like I said before, you should be allowed to celebrate how you want. That goes along with the peace signs from Tyreek Hill. The what else do we have? What's I had another one I was thinking of, but now I'm forgetting it. Oh well, those type of pre-end zone celebrations are fine. Along with if the defense does it back to him, I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's got to go both ways. If you're not gonna, yeah, it's ridiculous if you're not gonna let the defense do stuff like that.
Yeah. My one of my favorite pre end zone celebrations is just being so cocky that you know you're gonna win the game that you just drop the ball before you even get into the end zone. I mean, it's just I'm specifically thinking about not about Deshaun Jackson as much because I can't actually remember how those games go, but it's like there's a play where like a Broncos defender gets like basically a pick six against the Ravens. I think the opening game of the season when Manning had like 7 touchdown passes or whatever. Do you remember that game?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Broncos defender gets a pick six. It's like we're blowing them out by 30. I don't even need to carry the ball into the end zone. like, wow, that is a savage pre-end zone celebration. Just because it's like I don't even need the ball. Like we're up by so much, this game's over. Don't think that was
Uh,
Deshaun Jackson's thought process, but
no, no, I don't think it was. But Deshaun Jackson did have another savage pre entering the end zone touchdown celebration. It was against the Cowboys. He just turns around, and I love the commentary on this because Chris Collinsworth points this out perfectly. He would have gotten flagged for either taunting or excessive celebration when he did it. When he turns around, sticks his arms out, and falls in backwards to the end zone, would have gotten flagged for excessive celebration or taunting if he did that before he got in the end zone. But since he did it, or after he got in the end zone, since he does it before, it counts as him diving in, so he can't get flagged on it.
wonderful stuff like that. I mean, along with that, anytime I know you absolutely hate it, but I cannot get even if it ends your career, flipping into the end zone is always completely worth it if you can do it.
I Greg Salas flipping into the end zone is different than Jerome Simpson flipping into the end zone. Jerome Simpson did it to get over a man. Greg Salas did it because he had no one in front of him.
Dude, that play is epic.
No, I won't disagree that the play's epic. The guy just ended his career by doing it, though.
it's totally worth it though. Do you think he was gonna stick around on rosters like much
He
longer?
was a baller. He was a baller.
Dude, he was like the fourth string receiver on that team. We had like Deontay Thompson as our two. Are you kidding me?
He was a baller.
All right. All right. Uh who just went? You or me? You did. You got more than me.
yeah.
You could go again.
Uh, the I have one pre celebration left, and that's Deion's high step. That's just iconic.
Of course.
There's
That's on my list too. I mean, yeah. And putting the ball up in the air. Like just all of it.
Yeah.
The whole 45 99 yards or whatever you want to say. The whole 99 yards because football. Yeah. No. I also love like this isn't even like a classification of celebration. Just when O linemen get in the end zone, or even I didn't really think about this before, but even D linemen, like especially D tackles, like you just love seeing them get in the end zone. I mean, Quentin Nelson doing a keg stand, Anthony Costanzo doing whatever type of bird motions he's doing. Like these guys are really thoughtful guys, and we love to see them get in the end zone because there's nothing like seeing a big body put 6 points on the board.
Yeah. Sticking with the Colts there. This is the first end zone celebration that I thought of. Number one on my list. T.Y.'s Hilton T.Y. celebration. I love that. I love it. It is so simple.
Yes. It is. It's great. I literally have a little section on here. Just if you can like have an individual brand for your own celebration. Like I know Dez didn't throw up the X first, but Dez throws up the X. Cruz salsas, Alfred Morris, like not that well known, but just another example I had. Is he always swings the baseball bat when he scores touchdowns. Then the master of them all, the person who started it all, always celebrating in the exact same manner every time. Barry Sanders tossing the ball to the official.
Ooh, that's a good one. I didn't think of that one. That's a good one. The good old I know I'm gonna be back, so there's no point in celebrating.
Barry Sanders is like me in high school. Like yeah, celebrate with your teammates if you score a touchdown, but at the same time it's like I don't really want to do anything that crazy because I don't want to get in trouble for it.
Now, you said Barry's the OG, but there's one other OG that I thought of that did the same
before him?
celebration. Yeah, that did the same celebration every time.
Okay, who am I forgetting?
Icky Woods. The Icky Shuffle.
Oh my gosh. Could you print
Don't
the
tell me it's not
Can you print
iconic.
the instructions for me again? Well, no, actually, I'm thinking of one before you even.
What would that be?
Billy White Shoes Johnson.
Ah, that's such
That
a
one's
lame one
that.
though.
Oh, no, it's not. Are you kidding me? Can you move your legs like that? I don't think you can move your legs like that.
Ah,
I don't think you can move
give me
your
a
legs
couple
like
give me a
that.
couple weeks to practice. I can move like that. Now,
No, no.
I could not do the icky shuffle. I could try my
Yeah,
hardest. There's no way I could
yeah.
do the icky shuffle.
He literally, he literally was an O lineman playing. He looks like an O lineman playing running back. Like anybody could do. Like just imagine the biggest teddy bear friend you have that you know, like big guy, but like big nice guy you know, and then just imagine him doing the icky shuffle, and I guarantee you'll laugh.
Uh, but moving on from kind teddy bear type of guys that you were just talking about to some mean-spirited celebrations, going after a guy. Stevie Johnson shooting himself in the leg to make fun of Plexico.
Yeah, but you literally Stevie should get his entire own
Oh,
category on this list.
we
Like
could
not
we
even
could
we could make
rattle
the
off
list we could make the list all about Stevie.
we could rattle off so many about Stevie. What the why so serious is
freaking
iconic.
freaking
Iconic.
loading the musket in New
Yeah,
England.
going over to the Minutemen with the Patriots and acting like he's firing off a rifle and then getting flagged for it.
Why is that a flag? It's bullcrap.
Because it was the early 2010s. People were lame.
Yeah, no. I mean literally anytime Stevie found the end zone it was a treat. It's like, all right, what's he gonna do this time? It's like, not only is he my favorite player on the team, but it's even more exciting when he scores because we know he's gonna do something even more fun to make it even more fun than it already is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I'll go again. Another thing I have here is the anything with like a fan interaction for a touchdown. I always think is awesome. So like hopping up to into the stands or like taking popcorn or beer from somebody is hilarious, or or like even like the camera thing where like you hop up and use the camera. You're kind of getting involved with the fans because the fans are right behind you when you stand by the camera. So I mean, anything that gets you involved with the fans and gets the crowd even more into the game is awesome. Like recognizing that they're there and being like, yeah. I think all of that is awesome.
Yeah. I think getting anything extra involved is great. Joe Horn getting the cell phone out from underneath the padding, making a phone call. That's great. T.O. pulling out the Sharpie from his sock and signing the ball, chucking it up in the stands.
Yes, I mean, another two figures that just have to be mentioned when talking about celebrating. You can't go without him. 85 and T.O.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
yeah.
it's so good. But that Joe Horn celly is
I get what you did there. I get what you did
the
there.
celly.
That was
Yeah.
a great pun.
The that is very underrated. That is a very underrated celebration. No one talks about that as much as they talk about get your popcorn ready and all of well, that was right when T.O. and Ocho Cinco were doing all their fun celebrations, so I can understand why it gets overlooked, but it is
Yeah.
the planning that went into it of I need to store my cell phone underneath the goalpost padding before this game, and I need to hope that I score.
Do you think he
in this
put
end
one
zone.
on each end of the field?
I want to think he didn't, because he was just that confident, like, yeah, I'm scoring in this end zone. Or he had a different prop in the other padding on the other side.
You know what I just find funny about that one? That's so strange. Is like Joe Horn's a little too old for us to have watched him, but
Mm-hmm.
he did that, so he like to some extent he liked doing the idea of what Ocho Cinco and T.O. were doing of like really having fun with the celebrations and whatnot. But yet I don't have any like other memory of him. And I know he was a fairly good player in his time, and yet I don't have like any other memories of touchdowns for him.
Yeah, it's really weird that he has one of the most memorable celebrations, but you can't think of anything else.
Although I guess other people may not realize how much like Stevie Johnson means to us and his celebrations. Even like I don't know. Like, do people even know about Why So Serious anymore? Like,
I
really?
want to
Do they?
believe they do. I really want to believe they do.
We know Stefan Diggs does at least, but
Yes, one of his favorite players.
yeah. And then the last thing I have, and I'll just let you go. I don't know how much you have left, but I'll just let you
I got
do.
two left.
Okay, I'll let you do everything after I say my last one because mine's really simple. Just team, like I said, being involved with fans is awesome too. But I mean, team celebrations are awesome. I mean, it's a team effort to get down the field and score. So yes, teams should celebrate together. I mean, I love all the crazy things that defenses are coming up with whenever they get turnovers now, and then offenses when they score touchdowns, and you know, you gotta give it to the OG Fun Bunch.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just talking about team celebrations in general are awesome, but I mean Fun Bunch started it all, so props to
Yeah.
them.
So to round out the bottom of my list, not bottom of my list, but the rest of my list, I have Randy Moss's disgusting act. Uh, it is so funny. It just him mooning the crowd is hilarious. In of by itself, it could have just been that and it would have been great. But then you have Joe Buck being an idiot and saying that it's disgusting, and he's mad that Fox aired that. What?
Yeah, no, it's really dumb to get upset about it. I don't think I would ever make the choice to make a butt reference in any of my end zone celebrations, but no, I'm never gonna get mad at somebody for doing something dumb like that. I think the Odell peeing one is much worse than the much worse than the Randy Moss just like jokingly mooning. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's great too because you have Chris Collinsworth to balance out Joe Buck and him saying, "Hey, Randy Moss shoots the moon at the crowd," and he's all happy about it. And then Joe Buck is furious.
Oh, that's hilarious. The way you said that was wonderful. Okay, do you have one more?
Yes, and this celebration is iconic in just the fact that it gave a team its nickname. Jamal Anderson doing the Dirty Bird. It that celebration one, it looks really stupid, but uh it's just so funny that a team's entire persona for what felt like a decade uh came from a stupid little dance, and
You know what's funny?
it's too good.
Yes, I agree with you. You know what's funny? I don't like I wish I knew more about like the Falcons of that era cuz what? That's the late 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, how the heck did the Falcons go from late 90s being where they were to by 2000 or 2001, whichever year it was, to having the first overall draft pick? Cuz they were in the Super Bowl in the late 90s. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It just
they stopped
I
doing the
don't
Dirty Bird.
it must have been that because I don't know what happened. Like I gotta look into that, see what's going on there because I don't know.
the, it's the it's the chicken dance that they're doing, but it 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 was so cool just because they were cool.
They were. I mean, they were the team. They were the team with all the like rappers and just like famous people coming into the locker room after the game. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
what's good? What's good?
and they were doing the chicken dance when they scored touchdowns.
Absolutely tremendous. No one else could ever have done that. Seriously, there's no other team that could have gotten away with that.
No, it's just because they were in a city that's full of cool people, and it's like, oh yeah, the Dirty Bird's cool, and it's The chicken dance. Uh,
Ridiculous. Uh, got anything else you want to discuss? I don't think so.
no, I'm all good.
You got an outro planned?
We gotta get around to that, don't we?
Yeah, maybe.
Think we should just cut it here?
Eh. Yeah, sure.